Hello again, my name is Dr. Bill Johnson. I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Exploring Our Schools. Today really is a special experience for me at any rate. It's something that takes me into a world that I have really not explored myself, but now begin to understand that many of our younger students find very comfortable in working. So it began at Hewitt School, and I'd like to turn to our guests who are from Hewitt School.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Danielle Cannon, who's one of our teachers, and then we have two of our young ladies who actually, I think, manage the blog and work it. We have Charlotte Ross Jen, right? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. And Lily, you've been a guest here before, Lily Eubler, so thank you very much for both of you coming today. What I want to do is just start with the teacher, if you don't mind. What are we doing? Where did this come from? This is a brand new idea for us all.
It is, and it's a wonderful idea. We've had a fifth grade student submit a letter to Mrs. Pryke asking why we didn't have a newspaper at Hewitt Elementary School. So Mrs. Pryke had brought it to myself and my co-advisor, Miss Jessica DeBritta, and we read through it and we said, well, this is a great idea, but with technology being so prevalent in our lives these days, let's start a blog. It's ongoing, we can update it when we'd like, and the kids were really on board for it. It's something that they're used to seeing. It's part of their everyday lives, the computer, iPad, so we thought it'd be a great idea to make it a blog instead of a traditional newspaper.
So tell me, from your perspective, what is a blog? I mean, I guess from our perspective, it is something that does replace our ability to contact with the news and connect with the news. What's your perspective?
It's something that you express about what's happening in school and what you could do for fun, and showing kids just how you are writing and what you can do over the weekend.
Okay. How about you, Lily?
I agree with Charlotte. It is really good for all of us to really know what's going on, not to be clueless going into something.
Now, who is the we? Is it not just the two of you?
No,
there are other people that write.
Yeah, there are about 10 of us writing.
Okay.
We have 11 fifth graders.
Yeah.
So when you say you're writing, I mean, that's not so easy. I mean, something's got to be a thought, and you've got to put it down in a particular format. So is it only about things that you're going to be doing on the weekends, or are there other things that you like to write about?
No, it's book reviews and anything you would like to write about, because you're trying to make it fun while writing.
So again, when we look at it, I guess, what is a newspaper going to do?
Right.
What did it do? I mean, what was a newspaper? What was its intent when we used to have it in the elementary?
To inform, to keep us updated, to inform on what's happening. And the name of the blog is called Hewitt Happenings, and it's really geared towards what's happening around school, what's happening in our community. Sometimes we do branch out and discuss things that are happening even outside of Hewitt that the kids find they want the public to know about.
It's basically like a modern newspaper.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a modern newspaper, isn't it? Yeah. So give me some examples of a few things that you've written about recently. Like a book review. When you talk about a book review, have you written one?
I've written a movie review.
Oh, what did you see?
Jumanji, the new Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle.
What'd you think of it?
It was really good.
Okay.
And I
But
wrote,
you got to say more than just really good. In
it
a
was
blog,
really
gotta-
funny, and it kept you on your seat.
Okay. So how long is a blog when you write it? It's
It
more
could-
than 4 words. It doesn't say.
Yeah, it's about paragraph. Because you don't want to make it so long that the person's bored of it, but you don't want to make it short that the person doesn't know a lot about it.
Oh, it's interesting. So I won't call them rules, but there are rules, right? So you've got to figure this out in advance.
Yeah.
So what did you write about Jumanji?
I wrote about the funny characters and kind of what it was about to make the person want to know about it, but not spoil it for them, so they would find out for themselves.
You think anybody went to see it after you wrote it?
Yeah.
So, all right. How about you, Lily?
I wrote about where you should go on a snow day. You can basically just go in your backyard. Whatever you want to use, your imagination is really what you need for a perfect snow day.
So what did you do on a snow day?
Well, yesterday wasn't really a snow day, but when we got home from school, we made just a giant snowman, and it's
Okay.
it's really fun to bond with your brothers, your sisters, your friends, cousins, family.
Isn't it interesting that the 2 snow days that you guys had in the last few weeks, It didn't snow.
I know.
So much
Not
for
that much
predictions,
snow.
I
I
know.
know.
Now, do you ever write about something like that? Here I
I
am
know.
on a snow day, what am I supposed to do, thinking there's going to be snow in my yard, and the snow never shows
And
up?
when it did snow really hard, we couldn't even go outside because it was so bad.
Right.
Yeah, 10 minutes outside and you would get
That was the
frostbite.
I
beginning of
know.
the year, right?
Yeah,
You're
it does,
correct.
it did, right. It did arrive eventually,
It did,
didn't it?
it
Yes,
did,
but
it
never,
did.
never quite as we planned it,
That's okay.
or as it was predicted by the weather
Correct.
guys, so. Anyway, now, I see that you brought your,
We
well, I
brought,
know you have your iPad, right?
yeah, we brought an iPad, and we just wanted to show how we
So this
use
is
the
a little bit what it looks
application.
like.
Yeah, we use the application Seesaw that the kids have on their own personal, well, their school iPad.
Right.
So what they do is we have our meetings once every other week, and they'll decide what they want to write about, and we really leave it up to them. They're in fifth grade. You know, we just make sure that everybody has a different chance to write about different things.
Right, and I think what needs to be understood is at this time of the year, in other words, we assign iPads to kids at the beginning of the school year in fifth grade.
Yes.
But in the middle of the year, they actually get a chance to take it home.
Correct, which is great because they can work at their leisure, when they have some free time. So the kids use the application Seesaw. They're able to write from home, maybe even during school if they have some downtime. It needs to be approved by an administrator before it's posted to our blog. So this is just really what one of the main pages looks like. You can pick which student you want to read their blog, their posts, and then you can just go back and forth. So it's pretty cool.
So we've entered Seesaw now, everybody has it, all of the kids.
All the fifth
Yeah.
graders have
All of fifth
Seesaw.
grade.
I
So
believe
how
they
do you
use
sign
it-
on? What do you do?
You have to sign in or a QR code. It's really just a QR code. But you can go to the Hewitt website and then it will click to you for Seesaw. Because any grades could go on it and it doesn't have to be an iPad.
Yeah, you go onto the RBC homepage, click into Hewitt, and then there's a little tab on the top. And you click into Hewitt's Happening, and then you'll have all of our blog posts.
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be on the iPad. It could be like on your iPad from like home or your computer.
You know, being up to date, I guess if we could just kind of take a little bit of a zig instead of zagging this time. How do you like the iPads?
It's good because it's different from just writing with hand and it's much easier and quicker to
Okay.
write.
Now, what does that mean?
It means it's just
Now, do you use the keyboard? Now, now,
Yeah.
we attach them, for the most part, to keyboards. In other words, the case has a keyboard, right? But you don't have to use it. If you flip it down and around, you can,
yeah. You could just use the keyboard, but I mean
the screen,
yeah.
right?
And the
What do you
keyboard,
prefer?
The keyboard, because it's like you just it's like a regular computer, so it's like much easier to type on than I don't know typing it
Uh-oh.
on the screen.
All right, but when you do you know how to type a little bit?
Yeah, I'm fast at it.
Oh, you are faster, huh? How did you learn?
I just go on the computer and iPad a lot, so I just got faster at it.
Do you have typing classes in Stellar?
That was in
used
third.
to. Yeah. I don't really do it, though. I kind of still use just my finger.
point-
It's harder
it's-
for me.
Yeah, if you use your pointer, it's faster.
Okay.
It's faster.
Yeah, but you may
Can we
be
just
more.
close that? That's great.
So I like using the keyboard, like Charlotte said, because I've always kind of wanted a computer, and now I kind of have one.
Okay.
So I might make some mistakes when I'm writing when I use the keyboard since I type fast, but I go back and I check them over when somebody points them out, and I make sure that it's all good.
Is there a spell check in it? Do you?
Sometimes, but sometimes they don't
it's really
check
just
it.
computers, really, that have the underline if it's spelled wrongly, but you could just reread it over because it's not really long.
So you guys have really become reporters, huh? So other than snow days, are there other things in school that you
Oh,
like to
yeah.
report about?
Me and Lily interview teachers, so students could
Uh-oh.
know
Is that good news? I
Yeah.
don't know.
because we asked them why they wanted to be a teacher, what they wanted to be if they weren't a teacher, and
So what'd you find out?
we learned that Mrs. Linker, if she wasn't a teacher, she would work at a food. She would donate.
I don't know, I think we might have
No.
been a community worker.
Yeah, community worker.
Okay.
And that she wanted to be a teacher because she always saw her brother struggle, so she wanted to help other kids.
Isn't that interesting? Do you find that interesting?
Yeah.
Now,
'cause
when you write
wouldn't-
something like that, again, are you just limiting yourself to a single paragraph, or?
If we like need to write more, then we will, because the students are finding out things that they would never think of a teacher, and they get to know them better.
That is amazing, right?
Yeah, like for example, if they thought that before they were going to be a teacher, they were going to be a movie writer or an actress. So it's really interesting.
Now, you realize what you've just done. You just went from student to reporter. So now as a reporter, you have to usually ask some pretty inquiring and sometimes some embarrassing questions of whoever you're talking to.
Yeah.
Do you think about it beforehand? Do you prepare for it?
Yeah, me and Lily like wrote down questions and then we looked them over to see if they were okay, and then we interviewed Mrs. Linker.
Yeah, I had it all down on a clipboard, and then we went in at lunch and
Yeah.
we interviewed her. We had some more questions.
And then we took like notes so we could expand on it when we wrote it.
Yeah. It's
So-
also good to quote.
Yeah, that's what we did.
So you have a responsibility. Now, when you report it, do you think it's accurate?
Yeah.
Pretty accurate. Yeah.
How do you make sure that it is?
We like take the important stuff that the teacher says and we put it into notes. So like it will be the important stuff that she said will go into the interview in the Hewitt Happenings.
Right. You know, you just said a very, very interesting word there. You picked the important things. How did you know what was important?
About like it wasn't just like little things that didn't really need to be like known about her. It was the important stuff, like why she wanted to become a teacher and like what grade she wanted to, if she wasn't a fifth grade teacher, what other grade she wanted to do and why.
Yeah.
Like not like writing her whole life story,
Yeah.
picking out the important things that we wanted to know.
Yeah. And the other students
Yeah.
would want to know.
Right. But you know, you just jumped right in, sure. So much of what a reporter has got to do is to figure out when you just said it, what we want to know. Not just we, but we are all fifth
the
grade
students.
students, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of helps you understand what important means.
Yeah.
Did anybody read it? How long did it take you to put it together?
Well, I sent it. This was one before we had our iPad, so I sent it, but it didn't go through, so they ended up never
I
getting it. But
sent
I
it.
did write like a whole big thing, so I have to start to like limit what I write instead of writing a whole story.
Yeah.
I think we were able to finally get it up on the blog.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So
Anybody else you interview?
No, we didn't have.
Did you interview Ms. Cannon?
Oh,
I'm working.
No?
I'm,
Not yet.
I'm working,
Not yet,
Not
huh?
yet, I'm waiting.
I'm working.
Here's your chance. Right.
Me and a friend are working on spotlighting Mrs. Berter. We're trying to figure out what a good time to interview is,
Uh-huh.
because we would have to come in the morning, and we're trying to still figure out a specific day.
Right,
to
I
come
think
in.
Mrs. Garnes and Mr. Bosch were spotlighted by two other
Mrs.
students.
Pryke
the
was-
lunch ladies
Mrs. Pryke,
were.
Mrs. Pryke.
No, it wasn't the lunch.
spotlighted.
It was what people eat for lunch, what they do at recess.
Yeah, but they interviewed them.
Oh yeah.
The whole point is, you know, as you kind of are the editors, I guess, you sit around and decide what's important, what do people want to listen to, what do they want to read? And then you make the decision about what's going to be newsworthy. So it really has become a replacement for the newspaper,
It's really
with
interesting.
an emphasis on news, things that people want to hear or see or read about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You enjoy it?
Yeah.
You have fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
also fun to get to know everybody in the club.
And like the teachers like find out stuff you never would have known, and it gets you better at writing.
You know, that's so interesting you say that. Do you find words easy to come by? When
Yeah.
you're thinking about, for example, in the interview with the teacher, was it difficult to write that, or?
No, since we had our notes, we just like kind of just like put it into sentences.
Okay.
But sometimes it might be hard to find the right words that you want, like the perfect words to describe
Yeah,
this one
sometimes
thing.
like I search like synonyms for like help, or for example, so it sounds like more. There's like better words for help. That's why it's like good for an iPad to write on an iPad.
So you said some of the magic words that your teacher and I always want to hear. So what makes you a better writer? You think so, huh? How?
Because we're expanding on what we used to write and making it better, and we're taking more time to think about what we're writing, and we're putting more like effort into it.
You too?
Yeah. It's I guess.
Now, what about the other kids that you work with? Now, there are 11 kids, right?
Yes.
This is only 2 of you. That means there are 9 others. Who does the editing? Who decides who's going to do what? Or do they just decide on their own?
We just decide on their own.
When we have our blog meetings, we'll put on the board different topics we can talk about, and the kids kind of come in and sign up. If they did a spotlight last time, maybe they'll focus on what to do during recess this
Oh,
time.
so it's not very different than a newspaper, where you get together, like, it's like the editorial group gets together and they decide, or the news people get together and say, this is what we're going to write about today.
Exactly. So once they have their assignment, they have a couple weeks to submit their assignment, and they're 5th graders, we're hoping they look through their writing, make sure the editing is done, and then myself and my co-advisor, we will do a final editing before it's published.
Okay. Do you have to do a lot of work, or they're pretty good?
They're pretty good. It's really nice to work with the 5th graders. You know, they've been taught so nicely throughout the years, and they're pretty independent.
You know, it's so interesting, when you do read, you know, like the New York Times or Newsday, you begin to realize that many, many of the authors are not a single person. It's a
Right.
group of people that work together. Now, do you guys ever work together?
Yeah, we did the Miss
Yeah.
Linker together.
Oh, you did?
And
Yeah.
I was also working on how to make an iMovie trailer, so they were all helping me with the pictures. Like Charlotte, she was the rocker,
Yeah,
since
me
we
and
were
Rachel.
doing the summer one for the iMovie trailer. And it's fun to like take pictures of everybody, be a little silly sometimes.
Did you ever read other blogs to find out
Yeah.
what they look like and what yours
Yeah.
might want to look like?
Yeah.
So, what have you learned about how good is yours in comparison?
Well,
They're,
they're,
they're basically the same, it's just some are more
Yeah.
long. I'm sorry. Some are more long and like have more details than others. And
So, you know what? We're actually coming down to the very end. What I'm really interested in is, at the very end, just the kind of the 2 of you telling anybody who's interested in blog, do you recommend it? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yes.
we were talking about in the car, like putting up posters so more and more people will come on the blog and be inspired to do it next year, like for the 4th graders.
or just be inspired to read it. I mean, it's good to know what's happening outside of Hewitt, in Hewitt, and other schools.
That's where newspapers came from, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know what's going on. That's right. And you 2 guys are connecting your friends in school with what's going on. That's wonderful. So, any last words?
No, it just, you know what, this is something that I'm enjoying. I'm really enjoying watching them take part of something, be a part of something that is really community-wide, and that everybody can check it out and see, you know, take pride in their work. And they really, I see a sense of pride with all of the blog members. They're really enjoying what they're doing, so. as a
It is
teacher,
so
that makes me
interesting how
really
many of
happy.
us now, in the morning, instead of going out and looking for your newspaper, just flip open
Right.
your iPad.
It's easy, it's
And
there.
start reading what's going on in the world around you, so. And you guys are contributing. So let's hope when the students at Hewitt School decide what it is that they want to do today, they're picking up your blog. So I thank you very much. This was wonderful.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Oh,
Thank
this is
you.
great. I think it's just a wonderful opportunity for our kids, and a wonderful opportunity for us to see into the life of what goes on at Hewitt School. So thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye now. You guys were great.